same agenda for meetings.
Good.
Okay, take a motion to approve the agenda. So moved. Thank you. And a second? Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 1.3, audience participation this evening. Okay. On to 2.1, consider appeal.
Presented earlier during the executive session, bringing to you to make a motion and accept the expulsion examiner's recommendation.
Take a motion to recommend the decision be upheld.
Motion.
Thank you. A second? Second. Thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. On to the consent agenda. Take a motion to approve the consent agenda as motion. Thank you. Thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. On to 4.1, introduction of PHS girls soccer coach, Mr. Josh Schroyer. You're fine.
Sorry, we would have done this when he was actually approved, but it was busy with basketball sectional and everything, so bringing him this month, and then Ms. Koss will bring back when she officially moves here for volleyball as well, so we'll be introducing her later. But I'm proud to present Adam Calhoun. The ironic thing with this was when we brought him on even as JV, I had said something to Nate after, like, man, he'd be a really good varsity coach candidate. Not thinking we'd also be hiring him, but really pleased. I think he's going to do a great job. I think our girls are going to love him. I think he's going to carry on the expectation of skill and everything that Coach King kind of started us off with. And really look forward to his leadership. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to him to introduce himself. And again, thank you for your time this evening.
Thanks, Josh.
Hello everybody, my name is Adam Calhoun. I'm from Argus, Indiana. My wife and I and our 2-year-old son live there. First, I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to lead our girls program. I'm very excited. I've been lucky enough through hard work and dedication, I know some here know me, to have lived many of my soccer dreams. Coaching in college semi-professionally and with the Haiti women's national team as well. I can assure you that the same hard work and dedication has already begun with our girls soccer program the moment Mr. Troyer offered me the position, and I accepted. I'm very dedicated to helping lead our girls soccer program in the future with setting culture from the go, leading on the field as well as off, which I was happy to hear that all of our student athletes are in good academic standing yesterday. Youth development, which is a very European style, so you build a program. Soccer, JV and varsity development as well, and contributing to the community as much as we can, and so on. I want to build our PHS girls soccer team into a local conference and state power, and with hard work and dedication from our staff, our student athletes, our youth programs, and everyone involved, I believe we've already begun that process into the future. Thank you again. My wife Lindsay and I are excited to be part of Plymouth High School and be part of the Rockies family again. Thank you.
Thanks. It's okay to go.
All right, sure.
Don't feel like you have to stick around.
Speak to.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. 4.2, introduction of PAS, Director of Special Education.
It looks like me. Again, I would like to welcome Nicole Bennett. She's in our audience. She's an experienced educational leader with nearly 30 years of service within the South Bend Community School Corporation. She has had a number of different positions. She's proven expertise in curriculum development, literacy coordination, and school administration, including roles as a kindergarten literacy coordinator, reading specialist, assistant principal, and director of school learning and school turnaround. She's dedicated to data-driven instruction, school improvement, and fostering collaborative academic teams to enhance student outcomes. She holds a master's degree in education, plus a master's 27 in K-12 administrative license, and she has the ability to acclimate and adapt to any situation in which she finds herself in. Again, she's passionate about empowering educators, improving
join the Plymouth Community Schools and the PATHS project. And I look forward to advocating for our families and our teachers and schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. All right, on to 4.3, elementary school update.
You're up.
All four.
We're going to start off with introductions. First of all, thank you for allowing us to come tonight to give a little update. I'm Brooke Bussey. I'm the principal at Webster Elementary.
Brian Welch, principal at Monon Elementary.
Kobe Moore, principal at Jefferson Elementary.
And then Joshua Meyer, principal at Washington.
So we're going to keep it short and sweet. We're going to stick to really 2 points, some data highlights, and then what our focus was this year, and then what we are projecting our focus to be next year. We're going to start off with Jefferson.
Is it just the one slide?
No, it's a whole presentation.
Hold
I
on,
mean, we can talk off the cuff. Yeah, me too. Here, you can.
hold on.
Do you want this?
Let me see if I can find it.
You can use mine.
It's so pretty.
Yeah,
Come.
you can just.
Mm.
Fine if not. You have your data there in front of you at least. No, you're fine. They should, everybody has it. They should be able to.
Alright, cool. So, I started with our academic performance from last year, since I was new last year, and it was the first year after redistricting, and so that's kind of the baseline for Jefferson for me. So starting with our iLearn math proficiency, we had 50.5% pass. That was in the 95th percentile for other schools that had a similar free and reduced lunch percentage for context. So we were pretty proud of that. Unsatisfied, want to keep pushing that. iLearn math growth was 66.7%, and that was 33% above the state average, so we're pretty proud of that. iLearn ELA. Maybe not.
Sorry, I'm trying.
That's okay. iLearn ELA proficiency was 37.9%, which also fell in the 90s. It was the 91st percentile amongst schools in Indiana with a similar free and reduced lunch rate. And then our ELA growth was 58.3%, which was 13.5% above the state average and a 19% increase over the previous year. So you can go ahead 2 more slides.
Perfect.
So there it is visually. Our iLearn proficiency, growth, ELA proficiency, and ELA growth. So that was last year. And we'll go ahead to the next slide, please.
Sure.
Thank you. So this year, based on our mid-year data, iReady is a diagnostic that we use to predict approximately how well kids will do on end-of-year assessments and statewide assessments. Our math growth was 75%. For context, we want that to be around 50% at this point in the year. And not all math standards are taught, so I think that is worth noting. For reading mid-year growth, we had 118%, so far surpassed that 50% mark, and shows that our kids are reaching their year-end goals at the mid-year mark, so we're really proud of that. And then M-Class is a reading assessment given for kindergarten to grade 2, and we had 57.8% of those students above grade level. So these were all markers of improvement as compared to last year. And yeah, we really were focused on moving kids ahead, reaching the year-long goals, and we were proud of the growth, but we want to continue to push their proficiency. So, focus areas. This year, we worked on unit planners and essential standards within our collaborative teams. I worked with our guiding coalition, which is our school leadership team, to build their capacity and really build up teacher leaders. We established a data protocol, so that's what we use when we go through our data that we get from our kids and help us action plan moving forward. And we set up WIN time, which stands for what I need. So it's a time during the day at every grade level where kids get that extra jolt of support for exactly what they need. We plan at the end of this year, actually we're meeting with our coach next week to begin our promising practices application for PLC and hope to earn that designation. We'll see. Typically you need 1 to 2 years of growth data to prove that, and I expect that will happen at the end of this year. We are projected to meet that. Next year, we want to continue refining practices, work on our collaboration, data usage, and intervention. We want to, again, maintain our growth and improve our proficiency levels, And at that point, we could potentially apply for our PLC model school application. We'll have to wait for the numbers to come in, but I'm fully confident our staff can do that. Thank you. Sorry,
No, you're
I held it hostage.
You're fine. Go ahead. You can talk to Ted after you do that.
Yeah, thanks.
So I have a similar format to Hope. So the first slide you're going to see here is data. So you can see here that that first set of on the bar graph there is iRead data. The one on the far left is from 2023 and 2024, and then this year's data. So there's not numbers included there, so I'm going to provide those with you. These are third grade. This is third grade iRead information. So in 2023, we had 54% of our students at proficiency. Then last year we were at 70%, and this year at 74%. So we're continuing that that steady increase. We saw a big jump from my first year at Menominee to last year, and then we're just continuing to refine and grow. And there's a smaller increase, but we're still seeing that increase there. The next set is our third grade iLearn data, and that's from my first year at Menominee, 2023-24 compared to last year. And so that was 48% to 53%. And then the last subset there is our fourth grade reading data, and we went from 31% to 47%. I think it's really important. I would accredit this, give credit to our teachers for this increase in our students, but also all of the work that they're doing with our professional learning communities. They've really dug in to understand the standards. They're not giving up on that kid when they struggle that first time, continuing to provide intervention in tier 2 and tier 3 when it's needed. So just really excited about the growth that we've continued to see over this 2 and 3 year stretch, and looking forward to the data we're going to get after we take iLearn here in late April and early May for this year. So our focus areas this year, so our teachers, I ask them to meet once a week, and we do that on Mondays at Menominee. But it's interesting because as we've developed as a professional learning community, they have common prep also on Wednesdays. And as I walk through the building, they're meeting even on Wednesdays when I'm not making them meet. So that tells me that they're bought into the work. And those meetings they just carry on from Monday to Wednesday to PD the next week, and so on and so forth. So it's really neat to see them embracing that work, the buy-in that they've shown. This year we've also focused on, as we continue to review the standards and how we've laid out our learning targets for each standard, where we need to tweak things. It's very fluid as we continue to learn and grow, a lot of refinement. And then it was before winter break, we submitted our promising practices application. As Hope mentioned, that was, we had to show 1 to 2 years growth, and we had to show all of the practices we're doing for professional learning communities. And just about 2 weeks ago, we found out that we earned that distinction, so we're super proud of that. And that's just, it's my teachers, not me.
It's all.
Yeah, so, we're proud, and we celebrated that, but we're still not satisfied. That continual growth, continual refinement, and just anxious to see, what we can continue to do moving forward. As we look at next year, and lends itself to what I just said, just continuing to refine. There's always areas that we can grow and work on. As you focus on different components of the PLC process, something you really honed in here, something over here might be getting left behind. So we just are constantly in that cycle of refining, reflecting, and so we're going to continue to do that as we have this year into next year. We have to look at next year. We're starting this work this winter and spring. We're really honing in on our data analysis protocol. So as students are taking assessments, when we get done, we're looking at how they're scoring. Why did we have success? What were barriers we faced? And then that lends itself to our tier 2 interventions. So when kids aren't getting it, what do we need to continue to do? That's often the hardest thing is, we gave it our all in that whole group instruction. What are we going to do when we got to pull those kids back? Because doing it louder and slower probably isn't going to work. So really kind of digging our heels in there and trying to figure out ways to help kids be successful. And really, it's all about the team. So I don't think I have great teams in my grade levels, but we can continue to bolster them, continue to give them professional development, and help them find ways to help kids succeed.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Perfect, I can go next. So I started off with the focus areas. So this past year, my second year at WDA, kind of like Hope said with the redistricting we've had, it's kind of really changed maybe what WDA looks like. And so we've gone with the weekly collaborative planning, just looking at those essential standards. My first year at WDA, I had a new teacher in every grade but one. Last year I had a new teacher in every grade but one, so we've kind of been just a revolving door, and I feel like now we have a staff where we can kind of really start to move the needle. So our teams this year have really focused on those essential standards and those learning targets, and then just using that data to drive our instruction. We've also our staff has had a collective commitment to improve our tier 1, and one thing we've done this year, so WDA, we're sitting at about 50% limited English. I mean, we have some, depending on the grade, we have some grades where, 18 of the 27 kids in there are limited English, and so we've gone to more of a push-in model to where our EL teachers are pushing in and supporting the teacher to improve that tier 1 instruction. And I'll be interested to see some of the data when we get back some WIDA scores to kind of see with that, with having those kids immersed in the classroom, how that can help just with their English speaking and a lot of the things you can see there on my 4th point there for the 24-25. Liz and Kelly, my EL teachers, have really been working with my classroom teachers to build background knowledge on before we give assessments, before we do just reading in the magazines, things like that, working on oral language and having students repeat and saying things in complete sentences, and then also just whether it's pre-teaching vocab, but also just using context clues to just get a better understanding of vocabulary as well. So those are things that we've really been working on this year. Next year, we'd like to just, provide that gentle, targeted, immediate student feedback. So we'd like to continue to work with our teachers to provide feedback on the learning the students are doing, and then just do a better job with that data analysis and using that data to improve our tier 1, but also then make our tier 2 more effective. And then we just also, like that bottom thing says, we want to develop a direct and systematic approach across all grade levels to kind of help with the efficiency of our instruction. Now that hopefully we can keep every teacher here for the next year, hopefully when kids go to the next grade, like, oh, we did that last year, and kind of help with some of that learning as well. So if we can, I showed one thing here. We got back some iRead scores, and I didn't include everything, but I kind of put some 4th graders on here that took it last year in 3rd grade and did not pass. And then we had, just some work with our 4th grade, whether it was with our coach or with EL, and you can see a lot of great growth here where we even had a couple kids move in, and they moved to us from a different school in the state, and that came in at in the middle 200s and jumped all the way to, up to the upper 400s, and so we just had a lot of great growth with those 4th grade kids that have maybe now been, like I said, I was looking at some of those kids that had quality instruction last year in 3rd grade, had quality instruction this year in 4th grade, and just the growth they had. So as we continue to do iRead in 2nd grade, I know we gave iRead in 2nd grade this year, and as soon as we did iRead, it was the first time my 2nd grade teachers had given iRead, and the very next day they're talking hey, we gotta talk to 1st grade because we need them to start doing this, and we gotta start doing this by, September instead of waiting until January, and just what they could be doing differently to get those kids prepared for the iRead. And then the other thing, just like I said, since WDA is almost 50% EL population, we have on here, this is from the last 2 years, and then I think at the end of April I'll have 2025 results, and I'm kind of excited to see how that looks just with our push-in model. But 79% of our EL population in 2023 showed overall growth on that WIDA assessment, and then we jumped to 88% last year. 88% of our 123 students showed growth, and so I'm hoping to see, like I said, with that push in and keeping those kids in the classroom and learning along their peers and grouping them up, to help best support them, I hope we can see even a higher than 88% and get into the mid-90s this year. So that's my update for WDA.
Thank you, Josh.
All right, for Webster, I'm gonna start off with some data. I organized mine a little bit different. We're gonna start with math and then go to ELA. I thought it was really important to show all grades, because it really does matter what they do in those primary grades, even though it's not a statewide assessment, it matters. So for math, for K through 4, we all take iReady, which is a very similar assessment that Hope already talked about. So I provided 3 years worth of data, but for iReady and for math, we've only done it 2 years. So you'll see in 2022, we had 52% at proficiency, and then in 2024, which was last spring, we grew 8% up to 60% proficiency. So that is end of year goals. And then for 3rd and 4th grade, we have iLearn, so you're gonna see that 3 years worth of data. So in 2022, we had 41%, and this is combined 3rd and 4th. And then the next year, we grew 6%, 47%, and then we saw a much bigger jump that next year, and we got 60% of students at mastery on math iLearn. Might not seem like a very large percentage, but when you see what these kids have to demonstrate on math iLearn, it is very complex. And we were above the state average in last year in both of those areas, so have a lot to be proud of. Lots of hard work and problem solving went into that. So the next slide is reading. So we use a couple different assessments to monitor growth for reading. In the younger grades, we use M-Class, which really hones in on reading foundational skills as well as how they apply those foundational skills to reading comprehension. So in 2022, we had 51% collectively K to 2 at benchmark. The next year, we were at 59%, and the next year at 62. Looking then at a statewide assessment, iRead is primarily a 3rd grade assessment. Now they've added in 2nd grade, but the data that's up here is purely 3rd grade. So in 2022, we had 74%. We saw a small jump the next year, 78%, and then last year got to 90%, which was we were doing cartwheels, I think, down the hallways when we got those results in. And a lot of the data points that we were seeing led us to believe that we thought we got kids there, but until it's in your face, it was super exciting. So, and then iLearn for ELA, that includes both reading and writing. So we in 22 we're at 33%. The next year, 33%. And then we saw a big jump last year and made it to 47%, which was super exciting as well. So, all right, move on. All right, focus areas this year and next year. So I think we can contribute a lot of our big jumps that we made from 2 years ago to last year to a lot of refinement in the processes that we already had in place, just getting better at what we do day in and day out. So this year, we spent a lot of time refining our unit planning process. We all use the same. You're gonna see a lot of repeats on our focuses, and that's intentional. We are collectively moving forward as an elementary team. And also our data analysis protocol. Our guiding coalition, I don't know if you guys are familiar with what that is. Our guiding coalition is really a teacher leadership team or a building leadership team. So within there, our team put together a data analysis protocol. Because what we found is when we came together, and a unit planning process, what we found when we came together to do what we do on Mondays during those collaborative team meetings, we were kind of falling out of some of the parts of the process that are supposed to be research-based. And so they created some visuals, and we have those on the table every Monday morning. We pick them up, and it might sound silly because we do the same process every Monday morning. Those visuals really did hold us accountable to the research-based process that we're all learning about. Ensuring that we are being responsive with our instructions and that we're not just taking the assessments, getting the data, and moving on anyways. You're gonna get your biggest bang for your buck when you are digging into these assessments, identifying areas that we need to reteach. And so I think we're gonna see a lot of fruits from that paper and being really intentional with using the data that's in front of us. Goal setting. So this was something that was a little bit different for us this year, and we learned a little bit about it at the Institute last summer when we went to the PLC Institute. And it talked a lot about the involvement of students in data tracking, because it motivates them. Not only that, but we understand those standards inside and out, and the targets that we're trying to get students to. It's important that the kids understand those targets and how to get there as well. So we've been intentional with that this year. And then we completed, similar to Menominee, we completed our application for a model PLC school right before Christmas break, which requires 3 years of increase in multiple areas. They actually do look not just at statewide data, they look kindergarten through 4th. And we received that designation, which was super exciting. And I didn't want to be the only one up here sharing that news because it really is a big deal, and it's a lot of hard work, a lot of problem solving. Sometimes it seems like blood, sweat, and tears every Monday morning. But super proud of the staff and the students. So. Looking forward to next year, building our Tier 1 instructional strategy toolbox. So one thing that we notice is when we give an assessment, that first shot instruction and we assess it the first time through, we still don't have that maybe 70-80% of kids there. And really after Tier 1 instruction, you want a big bulk of your kids to be at mastery, right? So we're finding that after Tier 2, we get a little bit more, but our goal is really after that first shot instruction in Tier 1, we want to get more kids there. And what we found is sometimes we come together and we're kind of out of different ways to be able to teach that standard. So we're really going to be working on building those instructional strategies up next year. Increasing collaborative learning and interactive learning structures. So really just giving kids opportunities to learn in different ways and learn from each other. There's a lot of research that backs that. So we're going to be learning a little bit more about that. Continuing to hold ourselves and each other accountable to our collective commitments and norms. Sometimes it can be a little awkward with a coworker when maybe you see them going against a norm or a collective commitment. But we're getting better and better at not only holding ourselves to those high expectations, but embracing those hard conversations and holding each other to those high expectations as well. And then also finding creative ways to celebrate student growth. So we do that right now monthly through life skills and then at the very end of the year, but it's not frequent enough. And kids deserve that. So we're gonna try to come back to the table and figure out some ways to celebrate. So, anything else from you guys? All right, that's it for the elementary update. Thank you.
Do you have any questions for us?
Seems like you guys are all doing a great job and making great progress.
And they work so well together. It's really cool.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, what's your team over there?
Yeah.
Good work.
Feel free, yes. 4.4, consider addition of remaining existing security cameras to the new system to assure no bias.
Yeah, hi, good evening. So you were all provided a list of upgrades to the additional buildings that we have. What this project will do is will tie all of the buildings into the cloud system that you all approved last month for the high school. It will relicense all of our cameras, and it will replace a few at Jefferson and at Riverside. But most importantly, it'll bring those systems up to the cloud, and it'll allow that same access and same technology that the high school is going to have with the existing cameras in the other buildings. We've been able to do this with leveraging some savings from the high school project. It was bid out, and also by securing some costs prior to April 1st and any other type of pre-tariffs that are continuing to go on. So this evening, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer, but we would just simply ask for board's approval to move forward with this program and this project, and while we're taking advantage of those cost savings for these upgrades. Thank you.
Thanks, Ward. I'll take a motion to approve.
Motion.
Thank you. And a second? Thank you. And all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 4.5, consider permission to apply for grants.
So this is an annual request, as hopefully grant season opens up in June, that we will apply for the grants that are annually offered by the traditionally the DOE. And so we're just asking you to allow us to apply for those grants when they become available. Hopefully.
Okay. Take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Alright, following that, 4.6, legislative update.
Okay, many of the bills we are waiting on are in committee right now, and so it's kind of a sit and spin. That will finish on the 10th, then they can go, the bills can go on to the third reading by April 15th. The session concludes on April 29th. Some of the bills that we're still working on, Senate Bill 1, obviously that's going to be a big one because it really impacts our operation fund. So I have not heard anything recently about that one. I did hear today that Senate Bill 287 was voted on by the House and passed 54-40. This is the bill that requires school board candidates to either declare a party, state they are independent, or choose not to disclose. And if they choose not to disclose on the ballot, it will just be blank. So that's kind of where we're at with that one. That is going over to the Senate now to have the Senate approve it before it goes to the governor, but that one looks like it's on its way. House Bill 1001, ISBA has spoken to this group, requesting several improvements, like an increase in the tuition formula to meet or exceed inflation, increase ELL funding, increase summer school funding, increase the money going to the safety grant. So that's kind of where that I've not heard anything updated about that one. And 1002 from the House bill, there is some language in the bill to allow schools to charge parents for fees that are supplies and materials that do not fall within the definition of curriculum. So that may change how we get money for textbooks. And then Senate Bill 146 is another one that we've talked about a little bit. That's the one where they're trying to raise the minimum salary for teachers. They're also including in that parental leave, paid parental leave for maternity. 20 days for a full-time teacher, 10 days for a part-time teacher. So unless Laura has something else to add.
I do have one more bill, House Bill 1500. That's one with the teacher appreciation grants and also the evaluations. What it does with the teacher evaluation, or sorry, the teacher appreciation grants, is it takes it to more selective process. And I was just thinking about, I guess one of the advantages of being here for a long time, you see things come and go, and you know what to avoid in the future, or at least you like to have a feeling that you do. And with it being more selective, what that means is a situation that would be probably similar to when we used to have the academic needs clause in our contract. And that just really led to a lot of hard feelings among teachers. And I'll just give you an example. Last year's tag, Plymouth School Corporation's got about $114,000. The language for this says then that you will now give it to certain teachers that meet certain criteria, like they're recognized, with a minimum of $3,000. That is, gets it for 2 years, and then it becomes part of their base salary the third year. So you take 114,000 divided by 3,000, you have 38 lucky teachers at Plymouth School Corporation that have the possibility of getting the minimum. Well, what is the criteria going to be for that? That was one thing with the academic needs clause that was very concerning. We never had a set criteria. And it just went to different people without really having a good explanation of why. And then you had people that were coming in making more than teachers who had stayed here to the corporation. So that is a concern, and I think we need to continue to watch that. This bill also has where it is now going to empower school districts to create their own evaluation system. We've talked about this before, with no mandated input from teachers. We're of course the ones being evaluated on it. We need to know what those expectations are so that we can try and reach those expectations. I just find it hard to understand why they would even think about having school corporations develop an evaluation system with no mandatory input from teachers, the people that are going to be living with it and working with it day by day. So that's the only other bill. Still watching them. I can't wait till this legislative session is over.
Maybe, be careful.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, 5.1 monthly remarks.
Yeah, big thank you to the elementary group for coming in tonight and presenting. They did a great job. You can see from the data that they present that they're making lots of progress. They're very together, the four of them, and that really shows when you go and visit their buildings, just how consistent everything is. So really proud of them. I think they're really getting the kids off to a really good start. And today I got to sit with Jacob in meeting, and our SAT scores, which they're at the beginning, but at the end also, the SAT scores were just through the roof as far as really good scores. So I'll get you more information on that. Jacob's going to get me some of that information that I'm going to send out to you on the Friday notes, and so you'll get to see the gains that they've made as well. So really proud of the group all the way through. We have fantastic staff and administrators, so really proud of them. Congratulations to our state champion speech team. The tradition continues, right? So I mean, it's not our first rodeo there. And I did want to tell the board that we have scholarships that we have to go through. So I'm going through them currently, and what I would like to do is to whittle it down just a little bit more and then have Robin scan them to you, the ones that are left over. And then if you would reply to an email and vote your top 2, that would help. We need to do this somewhere by the middle of April towards, I mean, we need to give there needs to be a little turnaround time because May 8th is the program. So I will try to get on the ball and get that information to you as quickly as I can, and then if you can get it back to me, that'd be great. So just be looking for that. And then looking ahead to the May meeting, we will have an update from Riverside, who is also doing some tremendous things. And Josh Troyer will be back for the update for the athletic department. And that meeting is May the 6th, right here at 6 p.m.
Thank you. 6.1, audience participation. All right, 7.1, adjournment. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Thank you. Second. You all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?